One reason relationships end isn't necessarily because two people are incompatible. It's because they begin mistaking assumptions for evidence. Today, I'd like to walk you through a real conversation I had with someone I'll call Sarah. Sarah believed her partner couldn't give her what she wanted from a long-term relationship. By the end of our conversation, nothing about her partner had changed, but almost everything about how she was seeing him had. When Sarah came to me, we weren't trying to solve anything yet. First, we were gathering evidence. I asked her why she was unhappy in her relationship. What was disturbing her peace enough that she felt she needed another perspective? This is what she said. It was great for the first year, but over the past 2 years, I've become more and more irritated with him. In the beginning, we were happy, but now, pretty much 80% of what he does drives me crazy. After the first year together, I started feeling that he was the one. I could see us getting married, but now I'm not so sure. Maybe we're not really compatible. Maybe I'll never be happy. Notice what has already happened. Sarah has arrived with a conclusion. She thinks she knows what the problem is: incompatibility. So I encouraged her to back up and define her wish list. Because if she had concluded that they were incompatible, she must already have an idea in her mind of what a compatible relationship should look like. You can't conclude that something isn't working unless you've created an expectation of how you think it should work. So I asked Sarah to name the qualities she was looking for in a partner. What she didn't know at that stage was that we were going to investigate each one, not to prove her wrong, but to discover where the real resistance was coming from. The first thing on Sarah's wish list was a sense of humor. I asked her, "Does he have a sense of humor? Can he make you laugh?" "Yes, he does, but I don't see it much these days." "So that's a yes, he does have a sense of humor." "Yeah, okay, I suppose it's still there, even if it's only his friends who get to see it these days." And there was our first important distinction. Her partner still had a sense of humor. He had already demonstrated that he could make her laugh. She simply wasn't experiencing that part of him as frequently as she once had. Those are not the same problem. Moment of clarity. Don't confuse frequency with existence. Next on Sarah's list was commitment. I want to feel more confident that he can make a commitment. So I asked, is he generally bad at keeping commitments? Does he arrive late for work? Does he miss appointments? She shook her head. So I walked her through several everyday situations. Did he keep the dates you arranged when you first started seeing each other? If you decide to go food shopping together, does he change his mind halfway to the supermarket? Does he keep changing jobs? Does he forget to brush his teeth every day? Does he start watching his favorite television program and then change the channel after 5 minutes? At that point, Sarah jumped in. "Oh no, he can definitely commit to his football training and his night out with the guys. But that's not what I mean." And she was right. That wasn't what she meant. But before we could investigate the commitment she wanted, we first needed to establish whether her partner had the capacity to commit at all. We weren't yet asking whether he was ready to make the particular commitment Sarah wanted. We were separating ability from application. "Can you think of evidence that he is generally unable to commit to things?" I asked her. Sarah thought about it. "No, nothing comes to mind. I would say he's probably as committed as I am generally." So we could establish something important. Her partner was capable of commitment. The unanswered question was whether he wanted to apply that commitment in the particular way Sarah wanted. Again, a very different problem. Moment of clarity. Ability versus application. Then came something much more everyday. His phone. I want him to be able to prioritize me instead of his mobile phone. "Can you be clearer?" I asked. "Give me an example of when you feel that." "So often, I'm trying to talk to him, but I can see that he isn't listening. I've told him so many times that I want meal times to be quality time for us. But if his phone lights up, he gets up to see what it is. It drives me crazy." So I asked Sarah, if you suddenly hurt yourself or you began crying and were visibly upset, would he put down his phone and give you his attention? Yes, in that situation, he would. So the evidence showed us that he could prioritize her when he understood that something was important, but that left us with a different question. Have the two of you actually agreed that meal times will be phone-free? Or have you expressed what you want and assumed that he has accepted it? I've told him many times, But now that I think about it, he's never actually agreed. He normally just gives me an irritated look. So perhaps this wasn't evidence that he was incapable of prioritizing her. Perhaps it was evidence that they had never created a clear agreement. That didn't make Sarah's wish unimportant. Wanting connection during meals was completely understandable. But she had expressed a preference and interpreted his failure to follow it as evidence that he couldn't prioritize her. That was not necessarily what the situation proved. It simply gave her a different problem to solve. Not, how do I make him care about me? But, how do we have an honest conversation about what mealtimes mean to each of us? Moment of clarity. A request is not an agreement. The phone was a practical disagreement, but the next item on Sarah's list carried much more emotional weight. Children. Sarah wanted children one day, and she needed to know that her partner did too. I want children, so it's important that he does. So what did he say when you asked him? He said he does one day, but he didn't sound confident. Are you confident that you want children? Absolutely, definitely one day. So not now? No, sometime soon. Why don't you want them now? I'm not ready yet. I want to enjoy other things. I want more freedom to work. Maybe in 3 or 4 years. There was something important here. Having children mattered deeply to Sarah, but it wasn't something she was choosing now. Right now she was also choosing freedom, work, and experiences she wanted before becoming a parent. And her own answer was, yes, one day. Which was remarkably similar to the answer her partner had given her. So why had a future possibility suddenly become an urgent problem in the present? When did you begin pushing the conversation about children? I asked. When did it suddenly feel so important to have an answer? When I started thinking about marriage. Now, we were getting closer. Her partner's uncertainty about children was not where the discomfort began. The discomfort began when Sarah started imagining marriage. Because marriage, in her mind, appeared to require guarantees. She needed to know now what he would want in 3 or 4 years. She needed to know that he wouldn't change his mind. She needed to know that the future she could see for herself would definitely come to pass. So I said, Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the story you're beginning to create? Marriage means making a binding commitment, and before you make that commitment, you feel you need every important detail about the future confirmed in advance. Sarah paused, and I understood why she wanted reassurance. Children were important to her. Marriage was important to her. She didn't want to invest more deeply in a relationship, only to discover later that they wanted completely different lives. Those concerns mattered, but we also had to be honest about what the evidence actually showed. She wanted children one day. He had said that he wanted children one day. Neither of them was choosing children now, and neither of them could guarantee exactly how they would feel several years into the future. Sarah was asking him to provide a level of certainty that she did not currently possess herself. Do you see what's happening? I asked her. You are asking the outside world to give you confidence about something you cannot fully confirm within yourself yet. You want him to give you an answer today that will remove your fear about tomorrow. But no matter what a partner declares about the future, life remains open to change. People change. Circumstances change. Desires become clearer. Unexpected things happen. No promise can remove every possible disappointment. The fact that Sarah could feel a strong desire for children told her something important about what mattered to her. But that feeling could not provide a cast-iron guarantee about exactly when, how, or with whom that future would unfold. Her power wasn't in controlling every detail. Her power was in becoming clearer about what she wanted, having honest conversations, and responding to what was actually happening, because there was a danger here. The fear designed to protect Sarah's future could begin damaging the relationship she had now. Moment of clarity. A desire is not a guarantee. And marriage is not a guarantee either. Marriage can express commitment, but it cannot promise that nothing will ever change. Sarah became quiet. The irritation she had arrived with began to soften. Not because I had convinced her that her relationship was perfect, not because her concerns no longer mattered, and not because I could promise that she and her partner would always want the same things, but because she could finally see that she had been asking him to remove a fear that did not originate with him. So what did this reveal? I wonder if you've already noticed something. Sarah was no longer investigating her partner. She was investigating her assumptions. We had examined the qualities she believed were missing. Her partner had a sense of humour. He was capable of commitment. He could prioritise her when he understood that something genuinely required his attention. And he had said that he wanted children one day. Nothing we uncovered supported Sarah's original conclusion that they were fundamentally incompatible. So here was the fascinating question. Why didn't she feel better? Because the problem was not simply her partner, it was her relationship with uncertainty. At first, it looked as though Sarah was trying to control him, but underneath that, she was trying to control something much bigger. The future. She wanted an answer today that would guarantee what he would want in 4 years. She wanted a promise now that would remove every possible disappointment later. But no relationship can provide that. Sarah didn't need certainty about her entire future. She needed clarity about 3 things: what was true now, what remained unknown, and what required an honest conversation. Moment of clarity. What is true now? What remains unknown? And what requires an honest conversation? Uncertainty itself was not the real problem. The real problem was Sarah's belief that she had to eliminate uncertainty before she could allow herself to be happy. She was trying to obtain an answer today that would control tomorrow. And those are 2 very different things. Clarity doesn't always change the situation. Sometimes it simply shows you that the situation was never the real problem. So, what can we take from Sarah's story? Perhaps your list isn't about a relationship. Perhaps it's about your career, your health, your business, your money, or your future. We all create wish lists. We all imagine how life should look. And we all gather evidence to determine whether reality is matching the picture in our minds. But somewhere along the way, we can stop investigating what is actually happening and begin defending the story we have created about it. We turn possibilities into predictions. We turn uncertainty into danger. We turn a temporary feeling into evidence that something is permanently wrong. And then we begin solving a problem that may not exist in the form we imagined. Clarity is not always about finding the right answer. Sometimes it is about discovering the real question. Sarah came looking for evidence that her partner was not enough. She left realizing that she hadn't really been investigating him at all. She had been investigating her own relationship with uncertainty. Nothing about her partner changed, but almost everything about what she could now see did. That is why I love asking questions. Not because questions change people, but because the right question can reveal that we have been trying to solve the wrong problem all along. So before you make a permanent decision about something that feels wrong today, ask yourself, what is actually happening? And what am I imagining it means? This is an important place to pause because sometimes the clarity that changes everything begins when you discover that the situation you were trying to fix was not the real problem.